move on to the next problems, that is illustration 3 and illustration 4. Now let us read illustration 3 and try to understand what they are trying to do. But before that, let me recap what is the value of bonds, because some of you all still have some doubts with respect to that. Now value of bond is nothing but, I told you, it is coupon plus redemption value, right? So now let us write this in terms of formulae. Coupon plus redemption value. Now whenever you are trying to find out the value of anything, basically you are trying to find out the present value of that thing. That is the reason why we are going to multiply coupon and redemption value with the discounting factor. Why are we multiplying it with discounting factor? Because we want to find out the present value of the bonds. Okay, discounting factor I had explained you all in another video. Just check that video. I have told you all what discounting factor is, and that is a factor which is used to find out the present value of any amount. Now currently we want to find the present value of coupon and present value of redemption. So that is the reason why we will multiply it with the discounting factor. Now the discounting factor is what? 1 divided by 1 plus r the whole raised to n plus m multiplied by 1 divided by r the whole raised to n. Okay, now we have multiplied it with discounting factor. Now this factor, okay, for coupon interest, for interest amount, if it is a 10-year bond, we are going to pay interest for a period of 10 years. That is, every year we are going to pay the interest. In the first year there is going to be interest, in the second year there is going to be interest, in the third year there is going to be interest. So continuous interest payments are going to be done over here, isn't it? So because of that, okay, because continuous interest amounts payment will be done over here, it becomes very hectic for us to calculate the amount of interest for every year. So rather than multiplying it every year with the discounting factor, we can use something called as present value interest annuity factor. Okay, that annuity factor, once you multiply it with the coupon interest amount, you get the total interest that you have paid for the entire life of that bond. Okay, whereas the maturity value, maturity value basically is something which is paid at the end of the life of that bond, something which is paid once the bond matures, and that is paid only once. That's why only 1 year discounting rate you will need, that is the last, the 10th year in case if it is a 10-year bond, in the 5th year if it is a 5-year bond. So that is the reason why for this you can use the normal present value interest factor. But for coupon we are using the present value interest annuity factor, because coupon, it is paid every year. If it is a 5-year bond, it is paid in the first year, it is paid in the second year, it is paid in the third year, it is paid in the fourth year, it is paid in the 5th year. Okay, it is paid every year. Clear? Okay. So that is the reason why this formula now can be also written as coupon multiplied by present value interest factor annuity at the rate of r for n years plus maturity amount multiplied by present value interest factor at the rate of r for n years. Okay, so this is the formula why we have used present value interest factor annuity over here. We have basically used present value interest factor annuity over here because it is an interest amount, and interest amount is required to be paid every year. Okay, so rather than calculating it for every year, okay, because the present value factor will differ every year, isn't it? The first year the present value factor will be different, the second year the present value factor will be different, the third year the present value factor will be different. So imagine doing that for 10 years will take a lot of time. So rather than that, you can go for present value interest factor annuity. Just check how much it is at the rate of R for that year and just multiply that factor with the coupon rate to get the present value of your coupon interest amount. Okay, so now let us move on to the first problem. Try to solve the first problem. Okay, the first and the second illustration we have already seen in the class, so let us move to the third one. A rupees 100 par value bond bearing a coupon rate of 12% will mature after 5 years. So what it is saying, of rupees 100 par value bond. Okay, so rupees 100. So what is given to us? It is given that it is a par value bond of rupees 100. Remember, par value bond. So it is issued and it will be redeemed at par. Okay. So the next is, it is coupon rate is given. How much is the coupon rate? Coupon rate of 12%. Then what else is given? Will mature after 5 years. So we know that it is n is equal to 5 years. Then the next thing what is given is that its discount rate. Its discount rate is how much? They have said it is 15%. Now, some of you all will get confused between discount rate and discounted bond. Don't get confused. Okay, I told you all, look at the formula for the bond. Value of bond is equal to coupon into present value interest annuity factor at the rate of R for n plus maturity value multiplied by present value interest factor at the rate of R for n years. Okay, so this is your formula basically, isn't it? This is your formula. What are we doing over here? We are trying to discount the coupon rate. We are trying to discount the maturity value. Don't forget that. So we are discounting the coupon rate, we are discounting the maturity value with a rate which is prevailing in the market. So when they specify that the discount rate is 15%, don't assume that the coupon is discounted. Read the problem. They have said it is a par value bond. Okay. So the discount rate is nothing but R. Okay. It is nothing but R. Now let us try and solve the problem. I'll write down the formula. Value of bond is equal to coupon multiplied by present value interest factor annuity at the rate of R for n years plus maturity value n multiplied by present value interest factor at the rate of R for n years. Okay. So coupon is how much? 100. Is calculated on what basically? Coupon rate is 12%, but coupon is calculated on what? It is calculated on the face value. Okay. So 100 multiplied by 12 into present value interest factor annuity at the rate of R. R is what? 15%. For how many years is it? 5 years. 5 plus mn. Since it is a par bond, it is going to be redeemed at the face value, at the value at which it is issued. So it is going to be 100 only, multiplied by present value interest factor and interest factor at the rate of 15% for 5 years. Okay, I hope it is clear now. Okay, now let us understand it in detail. So how much is 100 multiplied by 12%? It is 12. Multiplied by present value interest annuity factor at the rate of 15% for 5 years plus the redemption value multiplied by present value interest factor at the rate of 15% for 5 years. Now 12 multiplied by, now check your tables and find these values. What are the values that you find? Just let me know. Present value interest annuity factor, check for the period, check 5, and for the interest rate, check 15. The value which you will get is 3.352. So 12 multiplied by 3.352 plus 100 multiplied by present value interest factor 15% for 5 years. Present value interest factor. Now go to present value interest factor table. Check for 15% 5 years. How much is the amount? It will come to around 0.497. 0.497. So how much is this? It is coming to around 40.22 plus how much is this? It is coming to 49.70. The total amount, add this, it is coming to around 89.92. So this is your value of bond. Okay, I hope it is clear. This is the value of your bond. Okay, now let us move on to the next problem. Just write this down so that it is very clear to you all. Let us move on to the next problem. I won't rub everything. I'll just rub the solution. Okay. Yes. Now let us read the next problem. Okay. The next problem, it states that 100 par value bond bears a coupon rate of 14% and matures after 5 years. Interest is payable semi-annually. Compute the value of the bond if the required rate of return is 16%. Okay. So what we are given over here, we are given the par value. The par value is nothing but 100. We are given the coupon rate. The coupon rate is 14% and the number of years is 5 years. This is illustration 4. And the discount rate, the rate at which the coupon and the redemption value will be discounted, is given at 16%. So R is 16%. Now let us try and solve this problem. So coupon will be calculated obviously on the par value, which is nothing but 100 multiplied by coupon rate. Coupon rate is nothing but 14%. Okay, multiplied by present value, sorry, it is a semi-annual bond. I completely forgot about it. So it is a semi-annual bond. So M is equal to 2. So now the formula changes. The value of the bond will be computed as C divided by 2, and the discounting rate will be calculated as follows. Okay, the present value interest factor, it won't be directly taken at 16%, and the N won't be taken directly as 5 years. It will change. We will see how it changes. Okay, 1 plus R the whole divided by M raised to Mn plus redemption value 1 plus R divided by M the whole raised to Mn. Now this is going to be your formulae problem is if the problem is not annually. Okay, if it is not a yearly problem, if the bond is if the interest paid by the company in case of the bond is semi-annually, weekly, daily, year, and anything like that, like quarterly and all, that time we are going to change the formulae as we had changed in case of compound interest. The same thing we are going to do over here, that is divide the R by M, and then the number of years is multiplied by M. M in case of semi-annually is 2, right? In case of yearly, daily it is 365. In case of monthly it is 12. In case of quarterly it is 4. So please remember that. Okay, why we are dividing C by M? Because the coupon or the interest which is paid how many times? Twice in a year, right? So that is the reason why we are dividing it with M. Because of semi-annually, the interest which is paid twice in a year, right? You are paying the interest after 6 months, then again after 6 months, again you are paying the interest. So in a year, twice you are paying the interest. So when you are calculating the value of the bond, you should know, right, that for one uh, like after 6 months how much you are paying, and another after 6 months how much you are paying, you need to know, right? So the value of the bond is determined semi-annually. That is the reason why the coupon is divided by M. Okay, M is nothing but it changes depending upon what compounding is done. Like example, if it is daily, then it is 365 because there are 365 days. If it is monthly, then it is 12. Then C will have to be divided by 12. Why? Because there are 12 months. Okay, if it is quarterly, then we'll have to divide it with 4 because there are 4 quarters accordingly. Okay, so I hope this aspect is clear why we are dividing it with M. Okay, because this rate of interest is paid in a division. What is the division? That will depend upon whether it is semi-annually, if it is monthly, if it is daily, it will depend on that. Okay, so this is the solution. Now let us move ahead. Okay, so C divided by M. What is the C over here? C is calculated on the face value or the par value, which is 100, multiplied by the coupon interest rate, which is 14%, the whole divided by 2. Now this everything, it will be divided by 1 plus R. R is how much? It is 0.16 divided by M. M is how much? 2 over here. Okay, the whole raised to how much? M into N. Now what is M over here? 2, because it is semi-annually, multiplied by N. N is how much? 5 years, right? Plus, now the redemption. Since it is a par value bond, it will be redeemed at par. That is very clear. So the par value is 100. The same thing we are going to do, that is 0.16 divided by 2 multiplied by 5. Okay. Now, what is it going to be? What is this going to be? This will be 14 divided by 2, and this is going to be 1 plus What is it going to come up to? Yes? Please don't get confused with why we are dividing it with 2. There's a reason why we are dividing it with 2, and that is because it is semi-annual. Okay? Try to look into the compounding interest formulas so that you can understand why we are doing this. I had made it very clear why we are doing this. I hope everything is clear with respect to this problem. Okay? Or else if you all are getting confused with this, what you can do is, if you all are getting confused with this, what you all can do is, since it is little bit confusing, what you all can do is, okay, plus mn multiplied by present value interest factor at the rate of r for n years. Okay, you can do this, but over here it is going to be r divided by 2, and this is going to be mn. R divided by 2, and this is going to be mn. Okay. Now the only thing that you need to know for the calculation of present value annuity factor basically is the interest rate and the number of years. So you can do the calculations separately. That is, let us do the calculations over here. Okay. So now we want to calculate the R. Now you know that the R is semi-annually. Okay, so obviously since it is semi-annually, problem is, so what you can do is you can take the R out over here and divide it with M, which is going to come out to 0.16 divided by 2, which is nothing but 8%. Similarly, you got your R. Okay. Now you need to find the number of years. The number of years, what you know that it is a semi-annual problem. You know that it is a semi-annual problem. So what you can do is n into m. N is how much? 5. M is how much? 2, since it is semi-annually. 5 2s are 10. Now you got got the years and you got the percentage. Now just substitute it over here. Rather than making all the mess over here, you can just do it at the side over here, like your calculations. You can show how you got the semi-annually part, and then you can continue over here. The coupon interest is going to be 100 into 14% divided by 2 multiplied by present value interest factor annuity at the rate of how much? 8% for how much? 10 years. Isn't it? Plus maturity amount, which is nothing but 100, since it is a par value bond, present value interest factor at the rate of 8% for 10 years. Okay. I hope this is clear to you all how we got this. Okay, I hope it is very much clear. Okay, I'll repeat again for you all. I'll repeat again, just listen to me carefully. Okay, since it is a semi-annual problem, we just need R and the number of years to determine the present value annuity factor and the present value interest factor. We just need that number of years and the percentage. So rather than doing all that mess over here, what you can do is just find out the interest rate and the number of years. Now, what is the interest rate over here? Since it is a semi-annual, you know that R will be divided. Since it is a semi-annual problem, we know that R will be divided by M. It is not a yearly problem, it is something else. It is other than yearly. So we know that we have to divide it with M. Okay. Now what is R given to us? It is given as 0.16. What is M? Since it is semi-annually, M is equal to 2. So it comes to 8%. Okay. Now we want to find out the number of years. Now number of years, we know that since it is a semi-annual problem, we'll have to multiply the number of years with M. So the years is given as that m is nothing but 2 and the number of years is given as 5. So 5 2s are 10. So 10 years, right? So it's going to be 10 years. So we know it is 10 years, we know it is 8%. Now we can write over here that it is 10 years and 8%. Okay. So coupon, it is going to be 14 divided by 2. How it is 14? Coupon is calculated on the face value. Face value or the par value is 100. 100 multiplied by 14%, you get 14 divided by m, because it is a semi-annual problem. So we are dividing it with 2. Multiplied by present value interest factor annuity at for what? At the rate of 8% for 10 years. Plus maturity value, which is 100, multiplied by present value interest factor at the rate of 8% for 10 years. Now this is going to be 7 multiplied by present value interest factor annuity for 10 years at 8% is how much? It is coming to around 6.710 plus maturity value 100 multiplied by present value interest factor for 10 years at the rate of 8%. It is coming to how much? 0.463. 0.463. So it is coming how much over here? It's coming 46.97 plus 46.97 plus 46.30 over here, and the total is coming to around 93.27. So you all understood how you all have to solve when it comes to semi-annual or when it comes to anything other than annually. Okay, other than yearly, if anything, if it is a daily, if it's monthly, if it's quarterly, if it is semi-annually, you have to use the m and accordingly change the value of m. If it is quarterly, it will be 4. If it is daily, it will be 365. If it is monthly, it will be 12. So accordingly, you all will have to change the m and solve the problem. The basic important thing that you all need to keep in mind is you all need to find the interest rate and the number of years when it comes to semi-annually. You cannot use directly the same interest rate and the same number of years. You need to change it accordingly. Clear? The same procedure we followed with respect to compounding interest, if you all remember it very clearly. Okay? So now this is with respect to the bond value. Simple problems related to bond value. Now let us move on to yield of bond. Yield is similar to the value of bond. Only thing is value of bond is in terms of figures, whereas the yield is in terms of rate. Okay. So let us start.